Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? We're all doing very, very well. And yes, I am sitting on the chaise lounge in the movie room. I've turned off most of the speakers for very good reason. Because now we're going to attempt to do a watch-along party with Mad Max 2. Yes! One of the greatest action movies ever made. In fact, nothing tops it. Nothing surpasses this movie. I love Mad Max the original, I love Mad Max 2, I love Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. I've discussed all these movies a lot, and I love Mad Max Fury Road. Love it, definitely love it. I hope to love Mad Max Furiosa, but is Max even going to be in it? I'm not too sure about this, but I do trust the creator, director, writer George Miller, who I think is a wunderkind of cinema. And I've loved pretty much everything he's done, including Happy Feet. So regular viewers also know that when I do these things, and I've done a few of these little watch parties, they tend to get blocked because I'm playing the movie and the movie gets heard. The soundtrack gets heard. I'm not showing any footage at all. The idea is you put the film on yourselves and you watch along with me. And I'm doing all the talking, all over the top of it. But because some of the soundtrack bleeds in, YouTube and the copyright holders go, no, you can't have that. Naughty Mr. Kilt-Man, slap, 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 blocked. Well wide, blocked. I fully expect that to happen with this. But in the past, I've always got them released when I do a counterclaim saying, hang on a minute, this is for entertainment and educational purposes. It's no substitute for buying the movie yourself or for getting the soundtrack yourself. Go do that. You're not seeing the film. You're not even hearing the full movie properly. So, I'm not giving it to anyone for nothing. I'm not doing that. And they always go, okay, sorry about that. Yeah. Go on. Go about your business. There you go. There's your little video back again. And I fully expect that to happen this time. Anyway, I'm not going to waste too much time introducing the movie. We all know it. We all love it. It's the second movie in the Mad Max franchise, and Mad Max, the first one, 1979, great success, independent, raw, independent, crazy, high octane, gritty, and gets George Miller and Mel Gibson on the map. And then obviously the sequel, which is bigger, broader, far more comic book, far more violent, far more excessive. And then you get Beyond Thunderdome. And then many years later, you get Fury Road. I love them all, I do. So, anyway, let's now get the movie on, and I'll count you in, don't worry. So what I'm going to do is, for reference purposes, I'm using the UK uncut Blu-ray, not 4K, this is the Blu-ray. There's the Warner Brothers logo coming on. It should go to a menu screen now, I hope. If it goes straight in the movie, we're in trouble. Menu screen, fine. And this is from the gas tank version with the first three movies in. Wonderful. Now, what I will say is, depending on what version you're watching, and I'm probably right in saying that most versions have gotten it. You press play now, it's going to come up with like an introduction. You can watch the movie with an intro from the critic Leonard Maltin. Well, you don't want to do that, do you? Because then we'll be out of sync. So in my case, and probably yours, you're going to press play now, and then you'll get an option to play movie or play movie with introduction by Leonard Maltin. So I'm going to do a countdown from 3 to 1. And we're going to go 3, 2, 1. Then press play. Don't press play on 1. 3, 2, 1. Press play. That's what we're going to do. Okay. And then hopefully we'll all be entering the Wasteland together alongside our friend Mr. Max Rockatansky. They don't say his surname at all in this movie, I don't think. No, they don't. But anyway, let's get on with it. So 3, 2, 1, now. Pressing play. Oh, then you get the anti-copyright bullshit, don't you? Piracy is not a victimless crime. Now, I've turned the sound down a lot and I've turned up a lot of the speakers. I've got speakers everywhere. Because obviously I don't want to deliberately incur the wrath of the copyright guardians. Cheers, you all. Got my whiskey here. So we're going to get this ominous intro. Kennedy Miller, Mel Gibson, poor old Byron Kennedy, producer and co-creator of Mad Max and Mad Max 2, sadly would die in a helicopter crash. What is it with filmmakers and even film composers who want to take to the sky and fly? How many of them, die? But even Harrison Ford's crashed a few times, and he's Indiana Jones, for God's sake. So we're getting the credits now. Vernon Wells. Emil Minty as the feral kid. He's a friend of mine on Facebook. Emil, love your work, mate. So you're getting Brian May's ominous, sort of portentous score at the moment. Brian May, one of the premier movie composers, his credits just come up now, from Australia, sadly now deceased as well. Not to be confused, of course, with the big hairy guitarist from the band Queen. Here we go. And you get a voiceover now, an eerie, ominous voiceover. Great shot, that. Photography by Dean Semler, Dances with Wolves, many, many movies. And even the director of a couple of movies, sadly, one of them actually with Steven Seagal. But, beggars can't be choosers. There's Max. Look at the ratio now, that little square box. It is basically the Academy ratio. Then we go into this weird sort of footage. Powered by the black fuel. And you can see how really portentous this movie is for the way the world is right now. It's depicting world wars, World War II in particular. Fires, conflagration, death, destruction. Because after Mad Max, the first one is a social and economic collapse of society. To bring it into the Wasteland for this movie and going onwards, it had to be, something else had to happen. And the follow on from, look at these people getting beaten there, real footage of people getting beaten. And there's someone getting shot as well, you'll see in a minute. Showing social upheaval. And what will happen, of course, in reality, with economic recession and more taxation and just, there's that poor guy getting shot. The hellish reaction to that will inevitably lead to wars, riots, and someone pressing a button. And that's the depiction that obviously George Miller and Byron Kennedy came up with for Mad Max. Societal collapse because of economic recession, the hunt for fuel, obviously, and then what happens after that? Boom! But then you got people like Max, the warrior Max. Look how young Mel Gibson looks there. He was 21 when he made Mad Max in 79. 81 they made Mad Max 2, so 23. But if you look, he's aged a hell of a lot in that time. And it's brilliant because it depicts a guy who's lost his wife, his son, his career, basically his life, his best friend. He's a broken, haunted man who took retribution and revenge in the first movie. And now, look. He's finding salvation, which he does in this movie. Look at this now. Again, Academy ratio, and we flick to. There's the blower on the hood of his V8 black on black Interceptor, and we go into 2351 anamorphic. There's Dog, the Aussie blue heeler, cattle dog. There's Wes, Vernon Wells, straight away we're thrust into, this is the world now, this is the environment that you're in. Wrecks everywhere, carnage, rape, pillage, murder. See, even these stunts here, these little early stunts are wild. The dog's just yawning. This is an everyday thing, meeting marauders on the road. But uh-oh. Shit. Can't keep the speed up for long. Don't worry, dog. Better get in the back, though. There he goes. And listen now as he hit that. The dog hears that and reacts. I know it's the way it's cut together, the way it's edited, but it looks brilliant. Story-wise, the dog's reacting to these guys coming up. Oh, fuck off. Oh. These little dune buggies. Bang! Did more damage to his own car there, you notice. But, oh! Even that a relatively small scale crash there. How many times did that flip over there? 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 times it flipped over. Look at this. Dean Semler's camera work is absolutely incredible. All filmed around Broken Hill on the western frontier of New South Wales. Mundy, look out, Mundy. That is a little township which is right just down the road from Broken Hill, or rather in the Broken Hill area. Vernon Wells. Look at him. The vermin have inherited the earth, which is written all across the air. The rig. Its trailer. Look at this. Gas is the most important thing. Guzzolene, as they call it. Got to scoop it up. Get every little last drag of it. Because the only way to survive in this world, unless you've got a battalion of people around you, is to keep on the move. Look at this. I'll tell you now, folks, in the UK, this film, on its initial release, and I saw this film on its initial release when it was double billed with the original Mad Max. I've actually still got the big poster for it, the double bill of Mad Max and Mad Max 2. Sorry, I was going to say the bit. There's a little shot of him actually trying to pull that bolt out of his bicep. In the UK, they cut that middle shot out, and later on, there's another bit very similar where the BBFC in the UK cut an interim shot of a bit of nastiness, and that's Vernon Wells doing most of those riding stunts as well. You'll see Vernon Wells leaping around vehicles and running about and swinging across the Gucci Arabs outpost, which we're going to come to. So a lot of these guys were doing their own stuff as well. But believe you me, we're going to talk about the stunt guys and what happened to them. Look at that. That's the guy in the dune buggy that just crashed. Look at the scabs on the knuckles. That looks really raw and painful. That's a wonderful shock moment, that. But Max has seen it all before. The little hurdy-gurdy little clockwork musical box playing Happy Birthday to Me. Happy birthday. Not happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to whoever. Look at the hair as well. Mel Gibson said, well, out there, who's going to cut your hair? So he, for weeks beforehand, was cutting his own hair to make it look as shaggy and as weird, so long strands. Look at that pink sky there. That terrain stretches for hundreds of miles in every direction. So you chop into his hair to give it this sort of wayward look, long strands, short strands, baldy patches. In fact, as I've mentioned a few times, Gibbo has a baldy patch on the right side of his head, which you see it in this movie a lot. You see it in The Bounty, and you see it in Lethal Weapon and a few other movies. Afterwards, he began to cover it up quite well. Probably a bit of a transplant or something going on. And it's the result, if this is true, one of his little bar fights with his mates, and he took a tumble and smacked his head on the side of a table, and the hair never grew back. Apparently, that's the version he told me. Version I heard. The gyrocopter. Look at this. Folks just swigging whiskey there. You can see the bald spot there. See it? Right there. You can see it. Little bit of nudiness there on the side of the, what do you call them? I don't know. They're not wings, are they? Fins, I suppose. The colours are right. I like the way he's chopped into his eyebrow as well. And you've got the blonde streak, the infamous blonde streak. Here he is, Bruce Spence, the gyro captain. Put it down. Aye, 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 aye. See, Max is unfazed by any of this. He's seen so much, done so much. He's wounded, got his leg brace on, got his kneecap shot out in the first movie. One arm run over. It seems to be that he's lost the sleeve on one jacket, maybe because of that. You don't know. V8. Booby trapped. Look at him, he's so jittery. Hey, hey, hey. Back up. Crafty little man, you. Look at the wardrobe is fantastic. The MFP leathers that he used to wear as a copper, which has been augmented and customised with every bits and bobs that he finds around the Wasteland. He's got a knife there. A fella. A quick fella. Puts it back, but he's disarmed it. But he's forgotten about one thing. Aye, 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 aye. Don't play me the fool. Remember rightly, it's a German boot knife that he's got there. Oh, he just gives everything away. Gibbo's got about like 16 lines of dialogue. It might only be 14 lines, to be honest. Kill me and you'll never find it. There's a great bond there. Look at the dog. The dog's still going for him. And this is terrific, this. Look at it. They've got the gun wired up with the dog about to pull the trigger on him. And he's shackled. The dog's face is fantastic. What? Huh? Little smile, wry smile. Gibbo smiles about 3 times in this movie, and when he does, it's a hard, brutal film. This, but when he does smile, it does soften the thing, and you need it. You need that. Again, like Snake Plissken, he's in it for himself. He's not trying to help anybody, but he will inadvertently have to become a hero, and we all love that kind of character. Look, camels. Look at these guys. This is a great big location build that George Miller and the crew did for what they termed as the Gucci Arabs. These are the good guys, led by Pappagallo, Mike Preston, who isn't the greatest actor in the world, I'll be honest. Look, someone just fell off there. You're seeing stunts from a long distance away here. So the stunts taking place all the time. But Mike Preston was also in the A-Team and a few other TV shows. But I do like him in this, though. This trash arrived. And there he is. Actually, he's a friend of mine on Facebook as well. Jell Nilsson, Swedish bodybuilder. Playing the Lord Humongous. We'll talk more about him later. But obviously, Max recognises Wes. In the novelisation and the original screenplay, the idea was that that opening skirmish that Max has with the Marauders is that he's just encountered a despicable deed that they've done on a little homestead where they've literally strung up and burned alive a family, and Max strays into it, and that's why they pursue him out of there. That's how that opening chase begins. Gibbo's little blonde streak there, a sort of like hawk sort of blonde flash, which I sported myself for many, many years, trying to emulate Max. It's a weird thing. You see it in Evil Dead 2 as well, where Ash, Bruce Campbell, witnesses the most demonic of creatures, and his hair turns grey or white on one side with the sight of it. I'm not sure. It's a mythical thing again. Is that meant to signify that the loss is his hair's turned white? In Beyond Thunderdome, when he cut his hair down, he's just grey because he's an older guy. It's grey on both sides. Tins of Dinky Dye. I've got replicas of those tins. The dog food. This was filmed in winter time as well, so you've got to bear in mind it's absolutely freezing cold. Freezing cold. I love how the three of these characters will get some sustenance from that tin. Max will take the lion's share, as you would. The dog will get some, because it's his bloody food to begin with, let's be honest. And Bruce Spence, the gyro captain, will get the remnants. The dog leaves him. Oh, but look at this. He was a vicious, he was surviving in the wilderness himself with his crossbow and his snakes and all that, his traps. But now we're already realising, look at this. Look, watch this now. Look at that stunt there. That guy has travelled over 50, maybe 60 feet on that bike, and it's just a little throwaway element in the movie. The reason why it's a throwaway element is because you're going to see so many more magnificent stunts up close and very personal. There are flies buzzing around as well. See, even in Australia in the dead of winter, you've got flies buzzing around. Because it's still a hell of a lot warmer than it is here in the UK in winter. When our flies all just die. But I love this as well. This is a great, almost very poignant, apocalyptic shot. Eating the remnants out of a tin of dog food, and then, with a bit of etiquette, he dabs his lips with a handkerchief. I like that too, the way they just go, oh, okay, it's night time now. Come on, lads, let's go home. Let's go home for tea. They call off the attack. Oh, that amazing anamorphic shot, that. Incredible. You can see where they hung on that for a good long while there, because it's such a majestic shot. Look, this is it where he dabs his lips. He's still a man of refinement, despite all that he's had to go through. A lot of the point of this movie, when you think about it, is that they've all lost something. It'll be addressed verbally at some point, but they've lost so much humanity. Max, when he has that music box, when he found it before, which he's still got hold of, and he hears Happy Birthday, he kind of remembers it and then forgets. It's like from a life he does not really fully remember. And it can only be literally about 2 years before. But it's a lovely sort of quasi-mystical moment. Look at that dog. That dog's amazing. But a sort of quasi-spiritual element. Like, they've all forgotten something. But you see there, even the gyro captain, who actually is a lovely guy, but forced to do things, to survive, as everybody would be. And in so doing, you lose your humanity with each crime you commit just to keep yourself breathing and eating, surviving. You're losing even more of what you used to be. And this is the point the film makes. You're all going to lose your humanity, but there's still a chance that someone, somewhere, is worth looking after and saving. And in so doing, you might redeem yourself. So this is the attempt now by the Gucci Arabs, led by Pappagallo, to find a rig big enough to hold that big fat tank of gas. Because they've got a refinery there. They've been pumping it, ka-junk, ka-junk, ka-junk. And of course, Max has seen a rig, which we've all seen. So it's such a simple story. He's seen the rig which they need, but he needs a way to get in there. This really was a foolhardy mission, but for these poor guys to go out there. Because they all get tracked down. Even that, look at that. Okay, the buggy's made out of a cage, so it's like they're protected inside that. But even in so doing, rolling one of those is going to hurt. Wes with the almost his entirely bare butt cheeks on show. Look at this. Max has got his dodgy old binoculars. And he's got a great big wicked telescope. Look at the dogs there as well. Like, fuck off, you have those. Gibson's face is magnificent here. Look at this. They quill this poor guy. Max's face. Look, there's a rage there. His jaw does shake with like, even though he's pretty much basically heartless at this stage, there's still pangs of humanity there. Like, he thinks about this. I can't watch. Yes, I can. The way that guy fell over there as well. And the weird thing is, like, Wes has got to be bisexual, I would say. I mean, it clearly is. Look at Max's face. I love that. Gibson can put so much raw emotion on his face. But now he's thinking about it. Come on. Hang on. Right. There's the camp. There's a way in. I can get in. Brian May's music building up. Fantastic. And you see, there's an element of, I was talking about in the previous video, of how Mel Gibson still portrays the injuries that Max has, and that busted leg having been kneecapped and his knee shot through. He does limp. Oh dear. Of course, Bruce Spence, who's also in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, playing. It's not the same guy. People say it's the same guy. It's not. It's not the same character at all. But it's a similar idea. He would also go on to be in Return of the King for Peter Jackson, and he would play the mouth of Sauron. Although you don't recognise him at all with all the prosthetics and the helmet on. But ooh, look at that sky. Hello. Fuck you. Wham! Look at that sky. One of the great in-jokes here. Well, sort of Aussie humour. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Save it. I'm just here for the guzzling. Yeah. The guzzling, right? Yeah, okay. I'll save you to get me some guzzling. Right? Oh, and he has to cut through the bolts which have pinned him to the back of that little buggy. Again, I want you to look at that, the locations and the cinematography. It's incredible. Here's Emil Minty with his razor-edged boomerang, the feral kid. Yeah, better ditch the weaponry, Max. Try and look friendly. See, they've got a moat built around the compound, and it's filled with all like the wrecks of vehicles that have plunged into it. A wall of tractor tyres. Yeah, see, there's Gibbo carrying a guy over his shoulder. Having carried people over my shoulder a few times, like, it's not as easy as you think, especially stumbling around in big, what are they, Rossiter boots, and carrying all that crap and caboodle and your part of your costume. Won't be easy, that. The school bus, which is the gateway. There's Virginia Hay as Warrior Woman. There's Big Rebecca. Oh, these poor bastards. I mean, the thing is, it's the archetype. They are dressed in white. They're the good guys. They are dressed in white. And there's Curmudgeon. Papagallo, Mike Preston. There's I always forget her name, with the big palm tree sticking out the top of her head. Oh, it's Steve Sears, who's the mechanic, the paraplegic mechanic. You're going to think, like, the likes of The Walking Dead, which is perhaps the definitive sort of treatise on mankind living after an apocalypse and how communities exist, how our friendships are forged, bonds are made, and how you have to look after your own and then battle other people who have a similar sort of outlook and they want what you've got. And it started kind of here. Or if you want to go further back, then if you look at most westerns are like this. Most original 40s, 50s, 60s westerns have this same sort of feel. And if anything, Mad Max 2 is a western. But again, talk about archetypes. Max is the Shane figure from Shane. He's the Yojimbo figure from Yojimbo, Akira Kurosawa, which of course bled into the Dollars trilogy for Sergio Leone. And Clint Eastwood, man with no name, although, as I've discussed many times, he always has a name. But when he goes into an environment, again, the anti-hero, he will have to help other people if he wants to survive himself. Excuse me. Look at this, straight away, the last of the V8 Interceptors. Would have been ashamed to blow it up. But he's good. But the dog goes for him. Because he can't feel it. I still don't think you just look bemusedly down at a dog, which could rip into that Hessian sack you've got your useless legs bound into. Because you're still attached to those legs and you get an infection there, you're dead. The wildlife, the pigs, the bunnies, the chickens. The feral, who's got his little network of tunnels, his burrows. Look at all this. Look at the dog gets too close there. See, later on you'll see people scurrying out the way of speeding vehicles, and I always notice it, but I always worry more about dog almost getting squished there. This poor guy. And most of you probably know what happens to him. Here they are. We're going to get the serenade from Toady, who is basically the town crier, the publicist of Lord Humongous. He's going to announce his arrival. Oh, these two guys. The bigger one there was in Mad Max, the first one. Different character, obviously. Shut up, he's saying, shut up. He's the defiant one. Oh, the way they've strung the bodies up all over the vehicles, it's like fucking hell. It's OTT. It's never horribly gratuitous, this movie. Although it could easily have gone into those realms. But it's just comic booky enough and threatening enough to deliver a bit of a frisson of like, oh shit. And yet, all these bad guys are so ridiculously OTT and camp as well, and deliberately camp. The bike gang in Mad Max were camp as well. So it's only obvious that it was going to get more extreme and overt in this. As I say, I reckon Wes is bisexual. I don't think he's just purely homosexual. I think he'll have anything that goes. Yeah, Dola, rock and roller. Look at the strands of hair which are peeking out. I am gravely disappointed. Once again, you have made me unleash my dogs of war. Toadie just wants to try to move up the hierarchy. Oh! What a puny plan. So you can see that he is certainly mutated. It's not made overt, I know, but he is. You see the wah, oosh. You see? Oh, boom! Here we go. This one's for you, Scrubby. My mate Scrubby from Down Under. Nice reverse shot there. Oh, shit. Now, this was the other bit that was slightly cut in the UK initially. Look at that bit there where you see him twist it slightly in his head. And it looks like it's deeply embedded in his cranium. Scrubby sent me a boomerang, which I still haven't used yet. I did a video unboxing that. Here's Toadie. Whoa! Fuck off. The way they all laugh about it. Woo! And what gets me is, he's like, oh shit. But I still want to be in with this crowd. So I've got to laugh as well. Look at him. He's like, lost me fingers there. Fucked up with his possum hat. No. Oh, we go in. Vernon Wells. Outstanding. Vicious, nasty, memorable. And then you see him in Commando, and he's camp as a fucking tin full of, I don't know, marigolds. He's just crushed his ribs there to knock him out. Look at the veins pulsing on his head. Now, let's just quell the myth that we all lost somebody we love. Let's just quell the myth that Humongous is the evolution of Max's old boss from the MFP, Fifi McAfee, I think his name was, who was the police chief in the original Mad Max. It's not him. It's not him. A different actor for one thing, but it's not even meant to be him. I love the way that that area is called Broken Hill, and that hill, which looks like a small version of the hill in South Africa, Isandlwana, where the British got massacred, 1879, January. I've talked about that a lot as well. Regulars know that. But it does look like a mocked up version of the hill of Isandlwana. and the massacre took place in exactly where they're all situated right now. That's where the British got massacred by the Zulus. Look at poor Toady, missing a few fingers and now missing a few friends. And look at that, they just dragged him out the way just in time there. You see that? See that again, that's a raw edge of dark energy to this movie, where maybe you don't even clock it, but when you do, it bleeds into your subconscious. Like they've gone, and now he gets angry. Oh, but always when I was a kid, I always felt really sorry for that guy, because he's not a nasty man. He doesn't want to have to fight. He doesn't want to put himself through this. But when times go bad, you're gonna do bad things. It's Big Rebecca, you dickhead. Like he meant his word. We don't have to die. All we gotta do is walk away. And Max just uncuffs himself. Curmudgeon, look at it. He's got the old piss pot on his head from the Second World War. He's a reasonable man. And he's got a bloody samurai sword as well. He's got a katana. I love all this. It's such ramshackle, thrown together bits. See, Mike Preston as Pappagallo, he has not got a commanding voice at all. And he's got to give a speech. Orlando Bloom in the otherwise magnificent full extended cut of Kingdom of Heaven. And I'll say that again. The magnificent extended cut of Kingdom of Heaven. Not the theatrical cut, which is a terrible, terrible, lousy, broken movie. But Orlando Bloom, who I do like, has to give a rousing speech to the troops, the Crusaders. And it falls flat because he cannot deliver it well at all. And that's in either version. But Pappagallo also cannot deliver a rousing speech either. Look at this. And of course, the Pharaoh's got 2 blonde streaks. This was the early 80s. Highlights and blonde streaks were all the rage. As I said before, it might be significant in this movie because it signifies loss in Max's case. But you look at the Pharaoh, he's got 2 blonde streaks and mad hair. And they've all got bleached blonde hair, a lot of these. And I said before about Mel Gibson just chopped into his own hair to give Max that kind of look. And the irony is that when you go into the bikers, the Marauders camp, you can see them getting their hair cut. They got the Mohicans, and there's other guys who are shaving the sides of heads and all that, like sprucing up Mohicans, and they've coloured their hair as well a lot. So again, it's like a vicious sort of irony. They can still make time to beautify and pontify themselves, but they've got to eat out of dog cans. But you got to look good. Here's where Max will win the crowd over here. A little dog there as well. I'm surprised that Max's dog hasn't gone for that. Look at that. You talk to me. Isn't it genius? Again, look at that sky. That's a great shot, that. Just the crowd. And the lighting here is great as well. If you look at Curmudgeon, Sid, what's his name again? Sid Halen. He looks like the Grindhouse grungy actor, now deceased as well. Sid Haig. Sid Halen. Sid Haig. I saw pictures of Sid Halen, the guy here, Curmudgeon, talking right now. He's got to come back for his wheels in his later life. And he looked a dead ringer for Sid Haig with the sideburns and the baldy head and the little goatee beard. He looked just like Sid Haig. How bizarre. Right now, folks, look at this now. those cans are meant to be empty. But they did put stuff in it to give him a weight to carry. And you see how they put like Hessian sack and fare on his boots to try to like mask any sound, and then they oil his leg brace. Stop it squeaking. Squeaking. My leather jacket's squeaking like crazy now. Down, down. Very strenuous movie making this. For all the cast and the crew, they're all running about. They're all in cold weather. They're all most of them are doing a lot of their own stunts. And then you've got the stunt people and the crew. For Dean Semler and his team. Obviously, here's Bearclaw. Now Bearclaw, that's Guy Norris, who's a stuntman who also plays the character of Bearclaw. He has this sort of horrible improvised. I'm not sure if it's meant to be like a fan. It's more like, it's almost like Freddy Krueger's claws, finger knives strapped onto his wrist and a big gauntlet. Sadly, this guy came a real bad cropper in trying to make this, which we will point out shortly. So the feral is making noises like a prairie dog. You have to wonder what would have happened if that had gone tits up and they had found Max. How would the film have panned out then? Yeah, it's a Gerber boot knife. Yeah, that he's got there. I've got a similar knife to that, but not that one though. See how it's all blurred in the background? Again, anamorphic lens, and actually shooting at night as well. This film gets overlooked when in terms of everyone thinks of the action, which is rightly so, but the cinematography and the direction are just so incredible. Look, Gibson is a small, like Tom Cruise. He's only about 5'7", 5'8", Mel Gibson. Someone's going to go, oh no, he's actually 5'11". He's a short arse like myself, which is why I always liked Gibbo. He looks fucking knackered there, doesn't he? He is, because he's just climbed up that bloody hill with them because they made him do it. He looks fucking goosed. He's gone up there because he knows he left the gyro captain there, and he's fucking pulled the tree out the remains of the tree out the ground, and he's crawling back. This is great. He just hears the dog. No. The dog's got a mean look there. Oh, fuck no. Right, I'm not carrying this anymore. Fetch the gyro captain. Bring him back to daddy. Oh. He's making him carry it. It's just, you've got to, it's survival, as I say. There's a good fuck up here, actually. If you watch, I'll point it out. Unless I'm talking other shite at the same time, but. So, look, they realised they told you. Yeah. Oh, the snakes. I knew it. Lethal. So his booby trap worked on one of the bad guys. No, it's my snake and I'm going to eat it. Find your own. And of course, Max's shotgun cartridges were duds. Because they've got to find. No one's making anything new, are they, really? Until you get to Bartertown. Crap. hang on. Look at that. Empty. All this time. Now watch Max try and put that back into his holster, slung on his hip. He'll put it in now. Yep, it's gone in. Right, now watch. Find out. Right, look. He can't get it in. He's missed. Tell you what to do with it now. I'll put it in his face again. He couldn't get it into the holster there. So there's a bit of improv. That gyrocopter could only hold one person. So you see in the pilot there, it's meant to be Bruce Spencer, the gyro captain, who's not flying it. And the Max figure is actually a dummy sitting there. It only holds one person. It doesn't matter, does it? The gyro captain's jittery nature. He's such a wonderful character. He's almost like he's strayed out of a pantomime. Aye. So Max honours this, like, he's not going to kill him, but, you know, we're partners. Right, so Max has got the rig sorted out now, but now he's got to drive it back to the Gucci Arabs, to Papagallo and his clan. But he's got to go through the heart of the enemy encampment at the same time. And of course, the enemy know that to haul that fat tank of gas, they need one of these. So that's the whole thing hinges upon this. Right? What have I got? Not much to shoot with. Gibbo's face, look at it. The Steve McQueen, the Paul Newman of what would be the modern age of cinema. But of course, the modern age, you were talking the 80s here. So you're talking a long time ago already. And look at what Gibson's gone through in the years afterwards. I love this. You know, he's still there. I'm not leaving you. We're partners. And Max just goes, oh, fucking hell. See, look. You've got a little barber's shop as well. Get myself preened up. Go. Look at this. Just gets on the side of this and just off they go. One take. Oh, I wouldn't want to be under there right now. Right. And look at this. Camera's in there. Smacked straight away. Speed it up slightly. Crunch! Ouch, you bastard. It's got to hurt that. I've got a bad back at the moment, but Christ almighty. To get your legs crunched off just below the knee. Okay, that's a powerful little wrist crossbow bolt to go through what a speeding tyre. But, you know, look at this now. Ooh. And you will see Vernon Wells clinging on to this, and later on in the movie as well. All those shots of Bruce Spence on the gyrocopter, when you see him up in the air, it's on a crane, it's hoisted above a crane. Brian May's music, it's just so stark. Look at the tartan pants, the tartan trews on the guy who's like, not sure if he's feeding or abusing the two guys who were strapped up on the front of Humongous's rig. Look at that. That's a Magnum 44 with a telescopic sight on it. And a fucking freakishly long 6-inch barrel as well. Again, that little army case that he had there, and the photograph in it made everyone think it was his old boss from the previous movie. Oh, fucked up again. You just can't get the cartridges, can you, mate? Knew just where to hit it. To wound the vehicle. Look at this. A bit of nudiness. And if you look closely, you see a lot more there than you might have thought. Look at this, some great shots here. Boosh! Ah. Right, here we go. Now, this is a stunt that put out the major stunt coordinator, Max Aspin. Put him out of action. Sadly, Max Aspin, who worked with George Miller again on Fury Road and hang on, not on Fury Road. Oh no, he made them. I think he did. Sorry, I think he did. But he died just after making Fury Road. Oh, it's Max Aspin driving this now with a dummy in the back there. Oh, boosh! He broke his leg very badly in that stunt there. Look at this guy. That guy in the pink Cadillac and all that, and the pink beard and the pink helmet. He looks like Ronnie Barker to me. Ronnie Barker from the British comedy classic duo, the two Ronnies. Ronnie Barker. Always makes me laugh when I see that. The gate. The gate. The gate. Love that. He gets crossbow bolted and the guy's about to smack him. Oh, here's this poor guy. Forced to fight, but really can't. Wow. Comic book here. Oh, look at the flash. Massive headbutt. And you see the little flash he put in there. In a little frame grab of a white flash. Almost comic book. Well, cartoon-like. You got Jan Nilsson wearing next to nothing apart from studs and a Jason Voorhees hockey mask, and there's a flamethrower. You know, at least he's nice and warm during the outback winter. Oh, I like the way that they don't show Max as being a massive sort of like, I can fight anyone, I've got martial arts skills. Fair no Else's bum. Like, if you made this film now, if you had made this film now, you'd have someone like Statham battering about 30 people in big protracted fight sequences. And let's be honest, I'd like that. There you go. You can run, but you can't hide. And this would be a drone shot, obviously, these days. So you've got Bruce Spence on a crane. It's very economical the way he did that. That's Venom Wells doing that, by the way. Oh, and he scampers off as well. That's my man. Is that a gardenia he's got? Don't touch. And the Pharaoh just snarls at him. He's great, isn't he? Isn't he great? Feral Kid's it's a great character. Again, you don't even need to know the backstory of where they all came from. But look at him with his... Oh, he's got such god-awful teeth, hasn't he, in this? And she'd be thinking, I'm not fucking going near you, just because you can fly, this bastard. See, Mike Preston's just not a good actor, is he? He's not... You know, get them organised. We're going out tonight. First of all, get this fucking crossbow bolt out of me leg. Right where he's holding his thigh, his hip right now, that's where I've got an enormous amount of pain because I put my back out and it's hit the sciatic nerve. Great bit of Aussie humour here. The little string vest. Well, that's great, but what does that mean? They've got 12. Okay. It's delicious. You need moments like that. Here you are. Now you begin to think, I was wrong about you. You begin to think, could there be a romance here? Max doesn't give two fucks. Like, so what? She looks at him. He doesn't look back at her. That's it. You won't get any more, apart from when she obviously will be killed, and he will, do his utmost then to get his own back, but not for her, really, to save himself. With you driving that rig. Because don't forget, he had the deal, didn't he? Look, I want as much gas as I can carry. I'll go and get that rig for you guys, but you give me as much gas as I can carry, and I'm out of here. And they're like, but they all think, well, you're such a hero. Well, you can drive that rig, get us out of here. Here we go. She looks amazing there, to be honest. That's a genuinely frightened look on her face. And look at this. It looks ghastly. Again, I said before, it's not gratuitous, but look. They're crucifying people, they're whipping people, and they're burning them alive. Jim Morrison, nobody gets out of here alive. Jim Morrison from The Doors didn't say it quite like that. Look at this though. Meant to be a ferocious downpour that's pouring, obviously loads of water tanks. I found them. These, of course, are all the prisoners. Could be really savage what they show here, but George Miller, wisely, I think. What's Bearclaw done there? You can see the wounds on the guy behind, and he saw him setting fire to one other person. He was like spread-eagled and crucified. That's fucking nasty. And this is the one scene I don't really like. This is the A-Team sequence. Apart from Curmudgeon trying to fucking catch the pigs. Look at him, he's hungry. They're all doing their bit. They're all souping things up. That's a girl, by the way. I know. I didn't believe it at first either. Sorry, I'm doing a commentary. I've been watching the film eyes on the entire time, and I finally looked round at myself on the camera, and it's weird. I just basically reminded myself that I'm actually still here, not just a voice, that I'm still here as a person. So you guys, if you're not watching the film avidly and you keep looking at the screen, looking at at me talking. That I can say some very sort of unfortunate things, and I always tend to react to them. Yeah. Look at him. What is going on with her hair? What the fuck is that? That ridiculous sort of palm tree top knot thing, and that horrible fringe. So I mean, what romance have you got in this movie? You've got this fledgling goes nowhere. You've got warrior woman who clearly suddenly, look at his teeth. Christ, they're bad. Oh fucking hell, that's awful. Suddenly has, oh, there's the dog again, yeah. Dog. She suddenly she has the hots for Max after he proves himself, and the only other romance that you've got is Wes and his blonde Mark Ullman lookalike bum chum. So George Miller does a great thing. He hints at things, but doesn't need to bog the story down with any stupid romance. Doesn't do it in any of the, apart from Mad Max 1 where he's in love with his wife, obviously. Doesn't do it with any of the movies, and yet there will be females in the other movies who will have interactions with our hero, but it doesn't go anywhere. And this is a big Aussie in joke. It's that is a sleeves pit. The postcard to the place where they want to go to is actually a genuine area, and it's, look, see the marks on his throat there. He smiled there. There's another genuine smile, but it goes wrong here. But like Surfer's Paradise is an absolute fucking shithole, as I'm sure Scrowy, my mate, and my mate Graham Abraham will tell me. I'm sure they know. What burns you out? This is the weird thing, because as Papagallo says, they've all lost something. But we decide with Max because we know his backstory. We don't know any of their backstories. They've all gone through hell. They've all lost people, and they've forged a new alliance together. It's a good moment, this though. Mike Preston's pretty good here. But you. In a way, he's right. In a way. Max is, he's a mercenary. You see the bald spot again there? It's creeping up. Feral Kid doesn't care about that. Feral Kid just sees a hero, an idol. You win some people over by your actions, your deeds. Some people are won over by what people say and what they often pretend to offer. This is where politicians fall down. They win people by making promises, and they lose people by proving themselves to be absolute liars, or people who just cannot deliver on what they promised. But a person who can act upon something immediately gets a response and recognition. Could be for the right reasons, could be for the wrong reasons. But Hollywood and, well, this is not Hollywood, it's Australian cinema, but movies and literature often take the stance of the loner, the guy that, or woman, who will strike their own path. They've got their own demons, that they're haunted. But we, as a viewing and reading sort of mentality, we're drawn to it. We're drawn to these heroes. We're drawn to people that can do the things that we in normal life cannot do, don't do, but wish we could. And the Lord always tells us that you can't do that, but we emulate these people. It's the vicious sort of irony and the cruel conscience and law-stricken sort of dilemma that we're all involved in. It's crazy. It's what makes people wish for like the apocalypse, so you could actually genuinely do this. I'm not joking. I know loads that want this. I know loads that... America, what? You must have about 3.5 million survivalists living in bunkers right now who are waiting for this exact scenario to take place. Let's go back to the movie, because I could talk for days on this. Because what this film depicts is not too far removed from what could possibly happen. Goodbye. Good luck. Gibson's not Australian. He was born in Peekskills, New York, but moved to Australia when he was about 11, 12 years old. Mainly because his father wanted to avoid the draft for all the rest of the kids to Vietnam. went to Australia. There was a draft to Vietnam. In Australia as well. Oh, the irony again. Look at this now. Oh, there's some bad speeded up stuff here. George Miller and Dean Semler explain why they did this. Because of the dwindling light. But it still looks a bit comical. You disappoint me, Bobby. So, once again, we've now got the V8. Our favourite car. We've gone from like nighttime into dawn, sunrise, nitrous oxide. Max has got the V8 engine, they've got nitrous oxide. Oh, now! Woof! Woo-wee! Look at this. And those two poor guys are still there. Fuck off. Oh, no. That, again, is an incredible crash. It's filmed in 2 locations, this. That is in a different location from where the crash took place. Because it didn't look right on film. When they looked at it back, they had to redo it again, do a reshoot. I had an amazing poster, a quad poster of Vernon Wells as Wes up here. In a second, you'll see it. Holding on to that camshaft or whatever it's called. Max looks fucking done in. There you go. That image there. Lost now. Lost forever. The V8. Our precious bloody V8. The Ford Falcon. Only a week ago, a guy I know in Australia who had asked years ago, he ran a company which found all the old Ford Falcons around Australia and they revamped them into the MFP cars from Mad Max 1 with the yellow and red and blue colours and the V8 black on black Interceptor. Oh no. Oh no. Do you know what? This is a great scene. You don't see the dog get killed. You hear it squeal. And it's still nasty enough. I wish the dog had gone for the guy properly. Here you go. Fabulous build-up. Brian May's music. Dean Semler's camera work. The editing. George Miller's direction. Max Phipps looking now. Look at the state of Max. Oh no. Whoa! Look at this guy fly. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's fucking awesome. Where's his face with the wall paint on as well? Like fucking hell. Look at the burning hulk of the V8. It's all over. Those 2 poor guys are still on the front of that fucking the humongous vehicle. And I was saying before, I asked many years ago to get a V8 Interceptor, and a company in Australia does this, and they said, "Oh, we'll find one for you, yeah, and we'll ship it over, and we'll bring it to you, no worries." Anyway, that was years ago, and the guy got in touch with me about literally a couple of weeks ago. I said, "We found one, we've got one for you. What do you want it to be in? Do you want it to be in the black on black with all the interior all done the same as it is in this movie? Do you want it to be the MFP from Mad Max 1, but again, it'd be Max's Interceptor? What do you want it?" And we'd ship it over to you. Folks, I can't drive a car. I can't drive. I've driven a tractor, but I can't drive a car. Never had a lesson in my life. In the Marines, they were going to give me, they wanted me to train for an HGV, heavy goods, but you'd be driving, well, not heavy goods vehicles, unless you're driving APCs and, you know, great big trucks and all that. But no, tanks and armoured cars, that sort of thing. And I never went for it. Didn't want to do it. I've got a real fear of driving vehicles, mainly because I'm a mad twat on my own 2 feet. So imagine me behind the wheel of a projectile, a heavily metal, solid projectile. Not a good idea. That's a rare moment of common sense. Great shot that as well, buddy. Great shot that. It's not on the gyrocopter, as you can probably appreciate. So I can't drive. So as Mrs. Kilt-Man said to me, like, what the fuck are you gonna do with this car then? I said, well, we'll take down the front wall of Kilt Mansion and we'll put the car there, or we'll get it hoisted into the back garden. And anyway, I haven't got the money for it. Isn't that a fucking shame? I could genuinely have the Ford Falcon done up as either the MFP or the black on black. They've kept it for me on reserve for a while, but because I asked years ago, and I'm on obviously a big waiting list, but can't be done. There's no funds for it, which is such a shame. Look at that, the Federal upside down. That's a really surreal shot, that. After being in a car wreck like that and battered up, and you'd be thinking, Christ, I'm seeing Tweety birds around my head. Gibson looks trashed here. I buy into this. Look at the dent in his head. That was the nice guy who got head butted by Wes. That's the nice guy dead, head crushed. Look, he's choking to breathe. His ribs are done in. Gibson knows it. He's fought. He did a lot of brawling. He was a bit of a twat, you know, Gibbo. A maverick, a joker, but he got involved in shit. I always got involved in shit. Always got hurt, always got done in. But he's acting that really well. That, like, oh, can't be ribs. Like that. He's got Max's gun. He's got the few shells that are left. Max has got suited up now. The feral kid gave him his stuff back. Look, Max's knee's bleeding again. He's holding his ribs. I love this. Look at his eyes fucking trashed in. This is make or break. As he genuinely says, you know, I haven't got a choice. Settle down. They're all like, "Are you fucking joking, aren't you?" Stacey, you? I mean, look at you. You couldn't even drive a wheelchair. You're a mess. Look at Max. He looks battered. I love that. You see, for me, Max is not looking for redemption here now. I've lived on the road. I know these guys. I've fought them before. I want to fight back again. If I can get this out, it's victory for me. I want to take a few of these cunts with me as well. That's what he's doing. If you guys get away at the same time, then that's a bonus. But I've got to do this. But it's the end for him. Max is seeing this as the end. He's not seeing it as like salvation. I'm not going to get anywhere better than this. But I've got to do it all the same. Keep your head down, mate. If one of those rotors comes down, we'll take your head off. I love a great shot this. And look at this now. Dun, dun. Wes is chained up. Oh, he's like, fucking you. Isn't that just great? Because you've got the Feral on the good team, but you've got Wes on their side, and Wes is just as ferocious. Right, they find the kid, and they catch him, drag him off. So Max just thinks he's been dragged off, but we know he's going to get on there as well. And it's a great... Oh, folks, we are entering into what is one of the greatest action scenes that's ever been produced, ever been filmed, ever been acted. Look at that. So the feral kid element, he gets onto that. Boosh! There was Ronnie Barker's pink Cadillac. They've reinforced it now. So your fucking bullets have got no shit on that now. So you got an aerial assault as well. Molotov cocktails. I don't know how many he could possibly have on there, but yeah. Look at this now. Watch. Look at this guy. Fucking hell, that's not far away from me, you know. He just gets out of the way in the nick of time. Real guy piloting the gyrocopter. That looks really good, that. And it's real in-camera stuff, but... And look at this, again. All of this armada, and the gyrocopter as well, are against that sweeping landscape. The cloud patterns, it's all real. What I will say is, when you watch this, this entire sequence, like in Jaws, you couldn't manipulate things digitally. You couldn't change the sky. Look, it went from gloomy there to sunny again. You're going to see that a lot. Cloud patterns will change. It'll go darker, then it'll go sunnier. But they had to do it in a certain amount of time, and they had to wrap it up at the final shot. Literally just a second before the sun went down. Look at these. Another booby trap again. Boom, 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 boom. A real big, genuine explosion. So the good guys have gone out the back, right? Lured them in. The decoy being the tanker. The big tank of gas. Look at that. That was their home. Massive tractor tires flying everywhere. Lots of shrapnel. They had to tell all the airports and the airlines that, you know, we're doing this. Judge Miller always says that, you know, that mushroom cloud's which is amazing, but he hates the way the wind blew it off to the side. I think it looks great. The side swipe there, pure Lucas, pure old school. Look at this now. Brian May's music comes in. Look at this now. I've seen this a million times, and it's still... I've seen it at flicks, and I've been a twat at the flicks. I've been off my seat, punching the air, trying to drive an imaginary vehicle. And yet, you know, I can't drive at all. Come on, Max. The defender's on the rig. There's poor guys. There's no guys there at all, of course. It's just dummies with watermelons for heads. Which will be necessary. Unleash the Wes! Look at him! That's Vernon Wells leaping again. That's not easy to do, you know, leaping from a moving vehicle to another moving vehicle. You tried it? Watch this now as well. That's a great big leap that vehicle does, and yet you think, oh, well, that's just sort of middle of the road. Middle of the road. The whole fucking film is set in the middle of the road. Look at this now. Grappling hook. Whoa, fuck off. Max's face there, like, yeah, you twat. Look at him. The little dune buggy coming up here. This almost went wrong. George Miller thought that the guy on the back here had actually... Sorry, not the guy, because the guy on the back, when it tips over, okay, right here. He thought the guy driving that had been killed because the guy behind who's filming it, his hat came off and got into the shot. And he went, oh my God, no, shit, no. And George Miller thought, oh God, we've just killed the guy driving that buggy. But it wasn't. It was his hat was getting into the shot. But the guy on the back of the rig, that dummy, which is sadly it's quite an obvious dummy, does topple over with the grappling hook in the back of his leg, which is nasty enough, but it's clearly a dummy on the deck. Is Bear Claw, Guy Norris. Guy Norris's big moment comes up soon. I will talk about it. Ugh! How much armour has he got underneath that? Because that's a crossbow bolt right through his chest. You can see the wires on that there. Sadly, once you've seen the film a few times, you spot the wires, but that's just to guide those in. And there you've got what people would think would be the love interest for Max is gone. Steve Sears, I love the mechanic's character. I think he's great, and I was really, first time I saw this, I was genuinely massively upset when what you see actually happened the first time I saw it. I was like, no, and it's so horrible as well. Look, Vernon Wells again, hanging on for dear life there. Look at this. And they've armed it with barbed wire, or defended it with barbed wire. Now she's strung up on it. And these bastards. Look at the clouds again. It's chain, pure blue sky. Massive black clouds behind them. Oh, the music goes. Oh no! Oh, fuck! They go under the wheels as well. Oh God! But Max, like, oh fuck this, because they're coming for him now as well, right? Boom! Ferro's like laughing. Ah, got ya. Here's the big one. This is the big stunt. This is the one that gets everybody. Oh! Ooh! That's a good stunt as well. That guy there, unappreciated. That was Guy Norris sailing over the dune buggy. Guy Norris, the stunt wasn't meant to be like that. It was meant to cut away as he flies towards the camera, right? And the idea was another car would come slamming into the back of their wreckage. But no, he flies over, lands in all the cardboard boxes, but his leg had clipped the vehicle that he went over off the bike and shattered and swung his femur back and reversed his leg. George Miller, being a qualified doctor, ran over straight away to try to tend to the wounds. And anyway, Guy Norris survived, obviously. And he's the guy that actually crashed the war rig in Mad Max Fury Road. Look at this, look at this. The tyre, shoot the tyre. He tries to put a little spike into it. Oh, fucking hell. Look at this shot now. There's so much to talk about. All these individual bits. It's hard to keep up with it. Brian May's music's building, building, building. The camera work, the speed. Everything is just electrifying. Look at this now. Bam, 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 bam. Do-do-do-do-do. Look at that. Look at that. That's Vernon Wells there. Look at this. That's genius. You've got the Marauders on top of the tanker now. They're coming for Max. Here we go. Look, look, look. They're using a hose, a fuel hose nozzle to get him on board. There's Bear Claw. Look at these bastards. I love that. They clock each other. Max doesn't know Ferrell's there. Suddenly, hello? No, fuck. Oh shit, come here. Sit there. Shut up. Oh. Ooh! Between the legs. These dark guns. These gas dark guns. Bah. Yes! Look now. It's the attack of the butt cheeks. Oh, fuck. Look at that. Spiked fucking mace. Oh! Oh! You've been strapped to the front of that bloody rig for a couple of days now. And then your Hessian masks come off and suddenly all you see is an oncoming, the back of a truck, and your heads just get splattered everywhere. They're the watermelons, folks. Now, okay, spoilers ahead, obviously. You can see the sand is coming out of it already. It's not gasoline leaking out of it. There's sand coming out. Always wondered about that. George Miller has never spoke about why they showed that shot there. But it ties in with Pappagallo now saying, look, it's over, because you can see the sand coming out. These guys are going to realise it's just sand. It's a decoy. There's no actual oil in there. Of course, Pappagallo's gone now. But he's saying, it's over, boy. Jump. Come on, jump. The gig's up. That's a stunt as well. Because they're all driving up and he just spins that fucking Pappagallo wagon round. Look at that, crunching into it. Again, you've gone from very dark sky to a really beautiful blue sky. Boom! Down you go. Look at that. Oh, fuck you. Look at the crunched up bodies on the front. It's disgustingly horrible, isn't it? Whoa! Oy! It's kind of comical the way that's filmed, but I still love it. And I still feel that impact. When he goes down, when he crash lands, I feel that every time. And then the music builds up again. Okay, we stop here. The camera vehicle stops there. And then we go back into the big chase. Come on, kid, get back in here. He's still got bear claws lodged in his shoulder. And they're getting, look at this, it's just crunching round. Oh, fuck it. We're going back. I'm going to turn round. People always say to me, I talk about Mad Max a lot, they go, well, why does he spin the vehicle round? What? He's just keep on going. Well, why not? He's distraction techniques. I've got to try to whip some of these guys out. By turning it around, I might smack a couple of them out. And he knows everyone else is gone. He knows what the plan is. Look at the blue sky there. Look at that. He says, get the bullet. It's not a bullet. And then he goes, get that shell. It's a cartridge shell. It's not a bullet. Look at this. Is fucking amazing, this. So well edited and put together. And such a great idea. Of course, you got Humongous now burnt up and crisped by Gyro Captain's Molotov cocktail. And he's basically got his nitrous oxide. But they've gone ahead, and of course he's turned round. So that's the whole point of why this happens. You know, for movie making. Oh! Sorry, folks, I missed the big shock moment there. Look at that! Ah! Whoa. Here you go. The shriek now. Ooh! Fuck off. My dad, Big Kilt Papa, used to always, when I was a kid, when we watched this over and over again, look at the meat flying over. See the pieces of meat. That's obviously Humongous and especially Wes being crunched up and just fucking held asunder. My dad used to always say to me, he said, wouldn't you want to do that? And I was always looking at him and going, do what? Roll that tanker. I knew what he meant, but as I said, I can't drive and I've got no real affinity for vehicles, and you know, although I'm watching Mad Max and I'm a massive lover of Mad Max and car chases and stuff, but you know, I'm just going like, what? He said, oh, just that, to flip that big tanker over and just off you go. My dad's gone now, of course, and I kind of get it. There's still meat on the cattle. defense thing at the front. There's still meat attached to it, which is obviously the two big bad guys. But I kind of get what my dad means now. The exhilaration of just, boom. My dad loved this movie, and my mum, who has only just passed away it's only, time of this recording, it's only a week ago my mum passed. And well, let's just watch this. Max's reaction now. Tyres are still spinning. What's coming out? It's not oil, not gasoline, it's sand. Now, we got that giveaway before, but Max did not know. So I've been used again. Emil Mincy's face there, it's a childlike, he's only a kid, but the childlike wonder on his face, even though he's vicious. Oh yeah, I've crashed, but I can still drive this bastard. Hey brother, how you doing? Your eyes fucked. Hey, Max's smile there. My mum loved that smile. So when we watched it, and I'd only be a kid, and I'd seen it at the cinema on its release, but I was only young, I was underage seeing it. It was a certificate 18 in the UK, and on a double bill with Mad Max. And but when we got the home video version, and we sit and watch it, my dad would love all the action. My mum would, I don't like the violence, but she fancied Mel Gibson quite clearly. And that, I said, George Miller always says there's 3 smiles in this movie, and I think we did recount them. I think there's 4 smiles in this movie that Gibson does. I think there's 4. Great shot there on the Road Warrior. That was the last we ever saw of him. It's just genius, pure myth. It's mythical stuff. And then you get like Brian May's ominous, portentous score comes back again. But my mum used to shy away from the violence, but she'd still love watching the movie. Oh, we can look at the camera now again. She'd love the movie itself, and that moment there at the end when Gibbo just falls back against the thing and the gyros come up, the kid's there, and he just does that half smile and then looks away, his eye all gashed open and all that, and further injuries. My mum always said, I love that smile. Oh, I love that little smile. And she loved Gibson, luckily, as she got older, she didn't really get to hear too much of Gibson's weird tirades and sort of. I still love Mel Gibson. I still think he's a fantastic actor, a terrific director. But he has got some crazy opinions. Again, I don't want to go into this sort of thing. Do you divorce yourself from what they say or what they do on screen? Because, it's a tough one. I do believe Adolf Hitler was a fantastic trapeze artist as well, and I could juggle at the same time and wowed everybody. No, I'm not making light of any of this. Certain things that Gibson has said have really upset me and shocked me as well. But I've heard a lot of the background to all of this and why he said what he said and the mistakes that were made and the things that were pressuring him into it and the people that were goading him into saying these things. So it's one of those. But Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. Folks, you've got to agree with me. That is just one of the greatest movies ever made. It is. So simplistic in its storytelling. So mythical. A great hero who's an anti-hero. We love. No one's clear cut. Nobody is clear cut in real life. We've all got demons. We all do things at that time to save our bacon or help somebody else. We've all got the capacity for good and for bad at the same time, you know. And Gibbo, as Mad Max, totally exhibits that and portrays that with such an indefatigable and almost undefinable star presence and screen charisma. I mentioned Steve McQueen, I mentioned Paul Newman. Gibbo was always cited as being the new one of them, the new Steve McQueen. The paley blues, that face. There's a lot of similarities physically and certainly in performance-wise. But Gibson struck out in a whole different sort of way. Portrayed many different characters in his movies. Max is just one of but many. Of course, you've got Martin Riggs. Oh, Christ, you know, and let's not get me started on Martin Riggs, you know, because I could go on forever about that. Cheers, y'all. And his portrayal of Fletcher Christian, which I think is fantastic. And so many other movies, and obviously William Wallace, hardly the most authentic or historically accurate of storytelling, but he directed it, he starred in it, and it's a magnificent old school style, albeit with modern gore effects. Huge historical movie, an event movie, but it works. And it put Scotland on the map for many people that didn't know Scotland was actually a place and had any sort of history involved in it. Yeah, I know it all, but a lot of people didn't. And Gibson put it on the map. And he gave a lot more credence to William Wallace. What he told in the movie is not correct at all. But God, it's very, very far removed from what really happened. But as a piece of filmmaking, it's outstanding. So Gibson as a filmmaker, as an actor, as a star, as a persona within the Hollywood machine, I can't fault him. I think he does an outstanding job. As a person, he's got issues. As a person, he needs to have a good long look at himself and to talk to other people and listen to other people. But Mad Max 2, folks, come on now. The car chases, the violence, the editing, the cinematography, the sheer direction, the simplistic story. It's cinematic perfection. It hits you right where it hurts. It grabs you. The adrenaline rush is absolutely irresistible. You cannot stop it. You're on board that rig at the end. You're there. It's 10 minutes of chase. I know people go, oh, Fury Road's like 90 minutes of chase. Well, yeah, I know. But and it's genuinely cathartic and exciting and genuinely adrenaline, testosterone pushing. But Fury Road does not have the clout that Mad Max 2 has. Mad Max 2 has so much more going for it. The ambivalence of characters' motivations, the little asides, the little side characters, the set dressing, the raw location, the raw filming techniques, and the sheer audacity of the stunt work. You cannot and do not get that in filmmaking these days. George Miller is the only guy that can bring that sort of verisimilitude from a huge roster of cast and crew, and to bring that vision to life without resorting to endless, green screen, blue screen, CGI, without doing any of that. In-camera effects. Miller will now use a lot of CG to embellish and filter and change the landscape to make it, but it's for continuity's sake. When massive vehicles overturn and people go flying through the air, massive vehicles are overturning and people for real are flying through the air. The CG only enhances the landscape and various little bits involved in it. The stunt people, because he's a massive practitioner of using real people, real time, doing real stunts. And he's there. He's sitting in buggies as well, filming. Because in Mad Max 2, he was sitting there trying to film sets. That big chase at the end, there were several times where Dean Semler, who was the cinematographer, fantastic, unbelievably good cinematographer, which I talked about him a lot during this. When he wasn't around, so he'd be on a different side. But George Miller would be like, well, I'll be on one of these buggies and I'll get the camera and we'll go alongside the rig at the end in the big chase, and I'll film some bits while you're doing other bits. And as George Miller himself admitted, he fucked it up. He'd hit the camera and he'd be running and he'd go, right, action, right, he'd be stopping the camera from running. So it's not filming anymore. And they'd be traveling alongside, and it'd be a great scene of someone clambering over it, and then they go past. It'd be a drive-by filming sequence, and they'd go like, right, cut, through his mic and all that to everybody, and he'd turn it off, but he wasn't turning it off. He was turning it on. The entire thing that he filmed was nothing, or what he thought he filmed was nothing. He was filming the intro and the outro. So then go back and do it again. So as he says, I've got a visual eye, but I'm not the guy to do the filming. Although I want to, and I love it. And he was jealous of Dean Semler, who could ride in his buggies and go alongside all these things, and go up in the gyrocopter and the helicopter and do all, the sort of aerial photography as well. He was jealous because he wanted to do it himself. I love that. He's a guy this is George Miller. He's a guy that wants to be able to do everything. He's got such a personal, strong, indefatigable. I've used that word twice now in this. It's a great word. Indefatigable. That's 3 times now. Desire to be involved in everything and get that shot. He wants that landscape. He wants action. He wants large scale. You saw it there in those shots of not just the gyrocopter or the helicopter shot swooping in as the Marauder Armada is pursuing, the tanker at the end, which are absolutely jaw-dropping, amazing visuals. But when Max and Bruce Spence, the gyro captain, and Dog are on top of the little mountain, the little outcropping, overlooking the Gucci Arabs camp, and you've got all the encircling bastards around it, spiraling around, and they're filming all it. They're looking for the binoculars, telescopes, and all that kind of stuff. But not only have you got like the explosive end, and you see it from that hilltop again, the huge expanse, and everyone's bugging out of there. But you've got that nighttime shot where they're watching. They've seen the attack, the all day long attack, and suddenly they're all the Marauders like, oh, it's okay, tea time, barbecue. We've caught a few of these bastards. We're gonna cook them up now. So come on back to our camp. And it's a long shot because obviously Miller and Semler both thought, fucking hell, you know what? That looks really good. Let's keep that. It's an epic shot. The huge 100-mile away horizon, that burgeoning sky, the huge terrain, our 2 guys and the Dog there watching. And all these millions of fellas riding bikes and jalopies and buggies and weird dune things, all going back with dust plumes behind them, and the lit up, heavily populated little compound there on a fledgling budget. You do that now, that whole fucking thing will be CG. You know it. It'd be CG. And you just sit there and wait for the next big CG action scene, as I will do as well. But when you go back to the likes of this is where the power comes in, and it resonates because you're seeing it for real. It's there, right there, in camera, and they're all in the shot. People are riding bikes. Anyone could have fallen off a bike or, just overturned a dune buggy on a rocky outcropping. In that terrain, anyone could have died right there. You've got a cast of hundreds there who are all doing things in camera, given that right, go now. Obviously with radio sort of relays to everybody. Now, go, action, now, off they go. Works perfectly, and it's genius. I cannot fault it. That's why I will always return to Mad Max 2 as being an absolute pinnacle of filmmaking. I used, that other word before, that word of indefatigable, but verisimilitude, I'm using it for the second time. George Miller is the master of vehicular violence, huge cathartic, character-driven verisimilitude. There's so much going on which is real, with all real people doing real things, that you cannot fault it. I'm not going to labour on this, he says, after labouring on it for the last 5 minutes. Cheers, folks. And the worst thing is, of course, I've just done all this and then get blocked right away, and then I've got to go through the whole process of getting it back reinstated. So that's Mad Max 2. We did talk a lot of different things, how prophetic it actually is, how really resonant it is with the modern age. You think about this now, the war in Ukraine, Russia has put a stranglehold on oil supplies, oil, and many other supplies, because apparently the Ukraine is a capital belt for fucking everything under the sun, which is why the price has gone through the fucking roof. But economic decline, recession, accelerated, all the bad things which George Miller was alluding to with Mad Max the First and Mad Max 2. Definitely. And then, of course, war. We've got war in Europe right now again. Could it escalate? Could it? Of course it could. Of course it could. I can't foresee what's going to happen. I know what my government thinks. I know what the military thinks, because I work for fucking both of them. And I know what the ideas are. But it can explode at any moment. Of course it could. This is one of those things. It's an ungodly conflagration of huge opposing ideology, and with a vicious sort of innocent group caught in the middle. It's Mad Max 2, isn't it? Ukraine is the Gucci Arabs. They've got like an oil reserve, but sadly it's coming from Russia. It's coming, and we need it. Energy. We need energy. So suddenly we're all caught up in this, what could be that horrible, old school, portentous opening to Mad Max 2, with all the original footage of World War II and all that. People being beaten and shot in the streets. All that horrible footage. That's happening in Ukraine. Right now. What's to say that this isn't going to cause... Not this. I'm pointing at my big screen over there with the road. It says the road warrior right now all over the screen, the menu screen. But, I'm not saying that Mad Max 2 is the catalyst, but Mad Max 2 and the whole Mad Max phenomenon and the story is exactly what's happening right now. So Mad Max suddenly becomes hugely relevant, I think. Well, there you go. Anyway, folks, I'm going to unleash my hair because I look much fatter in face when my hair's all tied back. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that. With the political sort of addendum, because I think the film warrants a different look at it now, because it could well have a lot of really wild things to say about where we could be going. Hopefully not, because as I say, I can't drive. So even though I could get sent a Ford Falcon revamped into whatever version I want, and who does not want the black on black V8 Interceptor? Who doesn't want it? Even if you can't fucking drive, I'd just sit, in it and make brum brum noises. Whoa. I'd have the music playing, Brian May's score playing. It'd be amazing. Oh God, I can't wait. I said that like I can't wait for it to arrive. I haven't bought one, folks. Wouldn't that be a great video though? Oh, by the way, folks, I mentioned getting the Ford Falcon revamped as a V8 Interceptor. Oh, it's here. Do you want to have a look at it? Can you imagine that? Ain't gonna happen. Unless someone out there wants to send me one, it just ain't gonna happen. Anyway, folks, Mad Max 2. The greatest road action adventure movie ever made. Fury Road's fantastic. It is. But it's not Mad Max 2. And it isn't because this is raw. This is Mel Gibson. This is George Miller at his best. When he's renegade, when he's guerrilla filmmaking. And that makes a big difference when it pays off, and it pays off big time. You don't look at that movie now and think, oh, that's fucking low budget, that, isn't it? That's shit. You don't. You think, fuck. You sit there and go, fucking wow. Its threadbare qualities are just absent because it's all out in the outback. It's all out in a real life location, a real environment, and they're really driving real cars, real fast, and they're really getting hurt doing it. By contrast, Fury Road, which looks genuinely jaw-droppingly amazing, it does, has that clinical feel to it. As I said before, the stunts are all real. They are. But the overall look is hugely embellished for the modern world with CGI landscapes and clouds and the dust storm and all that. But much of it is, and of course, Charlize Theron, she really has got two arms, you know. Furiosa has only got one arm's missing. The whole thing about arms again, like the sleeve missing, and like Star Wars, there's a continuity of themes of loss, physical loss, literally physical loss, and damage. I love all that because George Miller's created an entirely earthbound counterpart to George Lucas's cosmic sort of mythology. He's created one on Earth, and it's just, well, I was going to say it's just as valid. It's actually more valid and more important and more vital and actually way better done. If you look at the whole Star Wars saga, well, they've all got shortcomings. They're all over the place, and the prequels are nasty. The sequels are fucking god awful. The original are sacrosanct, but they are still problematic. George Miller's movies are problematic from a narrative point of view, lack of continuity, and what's really happening between each movie doesn't really matter because he knows that and he's doing it deliberately. That's when it comes in. That's where his films work, because he goes, I know. Max isn't really the same person from film to film. The Mel Gibson version kind of is, but also kind of isn't. There's lots of things missing and a lot of changes, and you don't really know. And bringing the gyro captain back again and all that, it's like he's playing with people and messing around with the V8, which you all want to see. He's messing around with you, but his overall view is very dynamic, very singular. It's always about momentum. So the themes are the same. Lone guy encountering other survivors, having to save himself, help others just to save himself, and that is the thing. And finding recognition and kind of redemption along the way. Whereas Star Wars is just reinvention and it's fairy tale and it's just too gimmicky and shite, and Lucas tries to cram in too much narrative, and the sequels have tried to give too much more and failed every time. By trying to expand on things and give backgrounds, you're losing so much. By adding detail, you're ruining everything else. Whereas Mad Max, less is more. Less backstory, less character actually helps, if you know what I mean. Anyway, right, we've hit the 2 hour mark, so it's kind of like time to bug out. The film was only on for an hour and a half, for God's sake. So folks, anyway, that was Mad Max 2. My commentary, my chat along, watch party, whatever you want to call it. I hope you managed to watch it alongside us. And I'll leave you with this. I have seen Mad Max 2 in the cinema, and I've been pretty much like what you just witnessed or heard here today. And you imagine sitting anywhere in that auditorium with me. Yeah. Oh, Kilt-Man, I love you, Kilt-Man. No, you when I see a movie with you, no, you fucking don't. You genuinely don't want to see a movie with me because I'm such a vocal, and I can't help myself. If I'm bored, I'm far, and I'll be asleep. But if I'm into it, oh shit, then I'm in it. I'm actually in it and reenacting it as it happens, and I will roll and duck and dive and fight and punch alongside my hero. And I've got a bad back at the moment as well. Luckily I've been drinking whiskey, so it's kind of deadened the pain. Folks, happy number shall be Kilt-Man. I hope this goes through at some point and you guys will see it. In the meantime, and this ever rampaging, marauding, I don't know, gender bending, because they are slightly, ever camp, but excessively violent and lurid in between time. Please keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all. And the camera's a lot further away. I keep forgetting this when I do these things. I've got to lean over there and go like that. Oh, God.